All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? All my people in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, all y'all Staten Island, my home borough, Brooklyn. Back out with another video. Now on Super Bowl week, I decided to do another entry into my Super Bowl performances series. This time covering Joe Flacco's performance in Super Bowl 47, which, for all you don't know, that Super Bowl took place in New Orleans back 12 years ago. So I decided to cover it. So since Super Bowl this weekend's in New Orleans. Okay, first a little backdrop. Joe Flacco was drafted in the first round, 18th overall by the Baltimore Ravens in the 2008 NFL Draft. He had a very successful rookie season, leading the Baltimore Ravens to an 11-5 record. He was Rookie of the Year, and it helped the Ravens win 2 road playoff games against the Dolphins in Miami and the number 1 seed Titans in Tennessee. Unfortunately, the season ended next week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and when Flacco threw a pick six to Troy Polamalu, which iced the Steelers' victory, and the Steelers went on to go win the Super Bowl against the Arizona Cardinals. The Ravens season abruptly ended. Over the next couple of years, the Baltimore Ravens would make the playoffs, but they wouldn't return to the AFC Championship game to 2011, where the score was 23-20, and they had the game won, but the receiver right here, Lee Evans, dropped the pass. That would have given them a 27-23 victory. So they decided to settle for a field goal and go to overtime, and the kicker missed the field goal, and the Ravens lost the game 23-20. The Patriots went on to lose Super Bowl to my New York Football Giants. But had to throw that in there. When going into the season, the Ravens were hell bent on winning the Super Bowl. They had a Super Bowl appearance right there in the grass, and it slipped through their fingers. So they were determined as ever to get back to and win the Super Bowl. But late in the season, they received some extra motivation when legendary middle linebacker, and the greatest Baltimore Raven ever, Ray Lewis, announced to the NFL world that he was going to retire following the season. So determined to give their general one last Super Bowl ring, Joe Flacco turned into Joe Montana in the postseason. In the wildcard game against the Colts in Baltimore, Flacco threw 2 touchdowns, one to Anquan Bolden and one to tight end Dennis Pitta. The Ravens won the game. And this was Ray Lewis's final game in Baltimore. The next week, they traveled to Denver to take on the Broncos. I've covered this game before. The Mile High Miracle game is one of the greatest playoff games, one of the greatest games ever in NFL history. The Denver Broncos were 13-3, the number 1 offense in the league. Peyton Manning was Comeback Player of the Year. They were the number 1 seed, but that didn't phase Flacco at all. He threw a touchdown to Torrey Smith, and threw a touchdown to Jacoby Jones. Rest in peace, Jacoby Jones, by the way. I know he passed away, I believe last year at the age of 40. So God bless his soul. Flacco threw this touchdown. Jacoby Jones would tie the game at 35-35 in a play that's ever known as the Mile High Miracle. And it wasn't until double overtime, which the Ravens cemented a victory by having rookie kicker Justin Tucker kick the field goal to give them a 38-35 double overtime victory and send them back to the AFC Championship game, where they'd be taking on their old foe, the New England Patriots. After Ray Rice scored an early rushing touchdown, Flacco took over from there, throwing 3 touchdowns in the game, 1 to tight end Dennis Pitta and 2 to future Hall of Fame wide receiver Anquan Bolden. And the Ravens were able to avenge their loss. They defeated the Patriots 20-13 and were, for the second time in franchise history, headed back to the Super Bowl. They had avenged their loss, and they had their chance to give their leader, Ray Lewis, a Super Bowl ring, a second Super Bowl ring of his career. In Super Bowl 47 in New Orleans, which became known as the Blackout Bowl, because we all know a blackout occurred during the game, for all you who don't know. Early on, Flacco threw a touchdown to Anquan Bolden. He threw another touchdown pass to Dennis Pitta, and at the end of the second quarter, he threw a touchdown pass to Jacoby Jones, which gave them the lead. And then coming out of halftime, Jacoby Jones scored a 109-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, giving a 20-6 lead. But the 49ers weren't going down without a fight. But by the grace of God, they held on to win. Thanks to a controversial call. The Ravens won 34-31, and Joe Flacco was rightfully named Super Bowl MVP. He threw 3 touchdowns and finished that entire postseason throwing 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Like I said, Joe Flacco turned to Joe Montana that day. And legendary Raven Ray Lewis went out as Super Bowl champion, and Flacco got a big-time contract after the fact. And he never really did shit after it. But anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Is this a top 10 Super Bowl performance ever? You think it's the best Super Bowl performance that ever occurred in New Orleans? Tell me what you guys think in the comments section down below. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe. Have a young brother go on YouTube. I'm going to see you all.